everybody. Welcome to another edition of Jiu-Jitsu Couples Therapy. Thank you all for joining us. It is a great day to do a podcast about Jiu-Jitsu. Susan, what are we talking about today?
Oh, it certainly is a great day to talk about jiu-jitsu. Today we're going to talk about you just got your blue belt. What next? Arguably the toughest belt to get through. And then we're also going to talk about, well, let's say maybe you get through it and you're a few years down the line, or maybe earlier, and you're just feeling like you've kind of fallen out of love with jiu-jitsu. Where do you go from there?
Okay, so you just put yourself in the shoes. You just got your blue belt. I know for me, that blue belt was the promotion I was most excited about, I would say, and most proud. Maybe not excited, proud that I had done it. We started in our late 30s, early 40s, and that was a hard belt to get. Um, um, and so I think a lot of people, because blue belt, you hear the trope. I don't think it's true that most people quit at blue belt. Most people quit at one stripe white belt.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's when
that's
most
very
people
true.
quit. But um, I think that there was, for me, there was an expectation of like, well, now I know jujitsu. I have a blue belt. People at the gym start to know my name now. What are the goals of a brand new blue belt, and how do they differentiate between a four-stripe white belt?
Well, here's the reason that I was saying that blue belt is the most challenging belt to navigate, I think, because you're still a beginner. You're still a beginner, and yet the expectation now is, oh, you're a blue belt, now you got to tap out all the white belts, and that's just a lot of times not reality. There are some really good white belts that can tap out purple belts. They can tap out anybody. You never know what's going to happen. But blue belt, I feel like there's some extra pressure there because there's a very foggy line between, say, a four-stripe white belt and a blue belt, but then all of a sudden you feel like, well, I'm a blue belt now, I need to dominate all the white belts.
Well, there definitely is that expectation fallacy, really, like that putting on another belt suddenly gives you this added responsibility or this added power or ability. And when in truth is, you earned that blue belt as a white belt. When you were a white belt, that's when you earn that blue belt. So starting there with realistic expectations of where you are in the journey. And I disagree. I don't think it's about, well, I have to be tapping out all the white belts. Maybe at your gym that is an expectation. I don't feel like that's a valid expectation for me when I was a blue belt in my early 40s. Was definitely not the case for me. But um, I will say that, and this is a factor of the fact that jujitsu is the Wild West. That blue belt in one gym and a blue belt in another gym could be
entirely
totally different thing.
Yeah. Yep.
They could be the same age, same size, all that stuff. Which is why we need a very, very strong, a centralized government of like, what are these things? And I've spoken ad nauseum about that on this podcast. But
do you think that's needed for, this is another topic, but do you think that is needed for belts, like some kind of standardized, these are the things that everyone should know if they're a blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, black belt?
I would even atomize it further, that I think that there should be if you're a master 2 purple belt, these are the things that you should be knowing. Like, it's different to be an adult purple belt and be a master 2, a master 4, a master 6 purple belt. Those are very different stages of life. That's 10 years between 2 and 4, right? It's every 5 years.
It's every 5 years.
So that's 10 years. That's a lot of mileage, between a 30-year-old purple belt and a 40-year-old purple belt.
That's interesting.
So, but that's, I think that for me, that addresses the popular thing that people say is like belts don't matter. Well, they don't matter to you because there's no standard, you know. But like
Hmm.
a gallon of milk matters, right? You're not going to the store and getting maybe, you know, 2 liters instead of 2.2 liters in a gallon. Like standards matter too, measurement matters too. But again, the there is no standard, and so this is the world that we live in. I will say that as a as a new blue belt, the most important thing that you can do for yourself is then start to get with your coach, maybe a higher belt that's kind of mentored you into the position you're in now. Get with them and start really narrowing down a game plan for you,
Mm-hmm.
for your body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's what I was going to say. I think that the most helpful way it, most of you maybe are like Joshua, where you didn't feel the pressure to tap out white belts once you turn into a blue belt.
It just was infeasible. Like,
sure, I mean that's the reality. That's the reality. But in your head, it might be something different, and I think that this is why there is a lot of blue belt disappearance, is because it's a hard place to be ego wise if you think to yourself, well, now i should be better, now I should be doing this, that, and the other thing. The other thing that happens at blue belt is that the higher belts now are going to also start being harder on you and start pushing you, at least in a lot of gyms. I definitely roll very differently with white belts than I do with blue belts. And so you can start feeling the pressure a little bit more as well. And so one thing that I think is a really positive way to go about it, and that negates that potential ego issue, is to do exactly that. Like figure out, decide on some kind of a move set, game plan, or a set, like something specific to focus on, and just start nailing that down. And then anybody that you roll with, hey, I've talked about this before, because I think that it works at any belt, but hey, I'm working on this area. And at first, you know that you're going to suck at it because you're just starting to work on it. And so your ego has a built-in buffer system, that, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to lose for a while, but eventually, if I keep doing it, I'll get better and better and better. And then you start becoming super killer at it. And then you add to it, right? Start stringing things together. I think it's something very tangible and something doable, and that can again help work with that potential ego.
Well, again, I agree with most of that. I slightly disagree where the individual blue belt comes up with the thing that they're going to get good at. I'm because
I didn't say
as
who
you
comes
said, as you said, they're still a beginner.
Yeah.
And I think that's where having a mentor. I'm a firm believer in mentors in all areas of life, to help kind of keep you on the path, to help out. You can bounce ideas off them. They don't have to tell you what to do, but they offer advice, and they are more expert in whatever field. This could be business, this could be, coaching, it could be jujitsu, it could be anything. But having a mentor in your gym, even a few, and that doesn't even necessarily mean older people, but it helps.
Yeah.
To kind of right that relationship. It could be people right around your age as well that are just more experienced, but having a mentor and just coming up with kind of a plan. For me, it was Kimura trap, half guard. And, my mentors helped show me things along the way where I would get to, a certain point and then be failing. And then they would help well, you're failing because of this, that, and the other thing. And then because your goal at blue belt is by the time that you're just on the cusp of being a purple belt, now I agree with your sentiment from a blue belt. You should be tapping out purple belts by that point. And that I think age has less to do with it at that point. You know a lot more. Probably by this point, four stripe blue belt, you've been doing jujitsu anywhere from 3 to 4 years,
Right.
maybe 5,
Right.
if you're not
Like
super,
in my case.
if you're not super consistent. But now you've seen hundreds, maybe 1,000 classes, so you know a lot more. The learning curve from blue belt no stripe to blue belt four stripe is quite steep.
Is very steep.
Um,
It's a lot of growth that happens in that time if you let it and if you are open to it. I think that the idea of a mentor is also great because they can keep you showing up. You know,
sure,
if you're going through some rough times.
sure, and I think we'll talk about that later. But you know, I think that um, I think that for a blue belt, developing a just one aspect of a game.
Mhm.
I'm not saying I'm going to learn the entire De La Hiva system or I'm going to learn whatever else. You're just going to learn an aspect. Collar and sleeve De La Hiva. Okay, great. Work on that. And that's all you do. Like, become so good at that one thing by the time you're on the cusp of your purple belt, where you're almost automatic in that,
Yeah.
where you, people know it's coming
And they still can't do
and they
anything
still
about it.
can't
Yeah.
get out, or against even higher people, the role ends in a stalemate from that position. That's where you want to be. You're not going to be like this super well developed, well rounded person. That's what purple belt is for, in my opinion, is to round you out, start getting you away from your comfort zones
Mhm.
into learning a more well rounded game. If you're not good at takedowns, getting better at takedowns, um, getting better at passing guard, all those things that you kind of didn't do because you were very focused as a blue belt, and as a white belt you had no idea what was going on. Where So that's kind of my thing. I think that if it's your personality type, another cool thing to do is to start to take a different role in the gym, of maybe not leadership, but of just a helper.
Mhm.
Lots of blue belts, and for obvious reasons, it's usually female rather than male, help out with the kids
Kids
class,
class. Yeah.
the littles class. They do other ancillary things for the gym. And if that's your personality, and if that's something that you want to do, then I would definitely say go for it, because so many times that we focus, it's like jujitsu, I got to learn these moves and whatnot. Jujitsu is a lot more than moves. If you are blessed enough to have a gym that's actually a community,
Yeah.
you're help that community.
Yeah. And you learn so much from doing that. I remember when I first got my blue belt, and I was a white belt for 2.5 years. I was a white belt for a long time. And so by the time I got my blue belt, I really felt like I was ready for it. Like, okay, I definitely feel like I'm a blue belt. And then I went to volunteer to help with the kids class, and I'm seeing these kids do these moves, and I want to coach the moves. I'm like, I'm not sure I know what to tell them. Like, I hadn't thought about it in terms of applying it to other people. Like, I knew that if I would do stuff like, okay, I can do this and that, but I'm more doing that from muscle memory than anything else. Like, I'm not really thinking it through yet. And so coaching, uh, especially starting with kids, is great because number one, they don't care if you don't know anything. They just like work with it, just kind of move around. But then you if you open yourself up to it, can start thinking about like, okay, they were doing this. What should I have told them to do? Or what do I do in that situation? And you can really start thinking through the moves as well.
Yeah, being a little more analytical, a little more mental with your game, definitely as a blue belt. That's when it starts to happen. Um, Analyzing how things come together, the mechanics, because in jujitsu, once you're there long enough, you start to see patterns with moves,
Right.
even if the moves are very disparate. You see, whether that's braking mechanics or certain types of movements are used in a lot of different places. And once you understand it in one place, you can start to apply it to others. But I agree that being a little more cerebral and a little more, uh, okay, well, why does that work for this person but not work for this other person?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, kids class is definitely low hanging fruit, low stakes. Like you said, you're not expected to even know the moves that are being taught in that kids class necessarily, but you're a support for the head
Right.
coach, right? Like a lot of kids class is just kind of managing their energy. The
Making
kids'
sure
energy.
that they're doing stuff and not
They're
just
doing
like
something, you know?
hugging each other and petting each other's hair.
Yeah,
Um, and don't be afraid to ask. Like if you are helping out with the kids class or something, don't be afraid to ask people, you know, they're they're doing this one thing. What should I have told them to do? Or what would be the best solution to this problem or whatever? Don't think that don't think that you're supposed to know everything all of a sudden when you get a blue belt.
that's right. That's right. Give yourself a little bit of grace. You're not an expert. I know it feels good. I remember it when I got my blue belt. It feels amazing.
Yeah, you
It's
feel like, oh, I'm coming up in the gym.
Yeah. Congratulate yourself. All the hard work. There's a huge mountain ahead of you if you want to get to the top. It's a
Mhm.
long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. So it's a patience game, you know. And I think that segues nicely into kind of what we have been talking quite a bit about recently, uh, not on the podcast, which is you and I, which is about the help I've fallen out of love with jujitsu. I don't have the passion for jujitsu anymore, whether that's due to life circumstances, possibly injury, repetitive injury, possibly maybe work stresses or other things, hobbies getting in the way. What do we say to that? What advice do you have to give to that person?
Uh, I'm not sure advice is the right word for it. I think that reframing what jujitsu is to you might be an important thing to do. So I have never been like jujitsu is my life. I have to go to class. I have to do this. I have to get through. I have to train, 3 to 4 times a week. I have to do this and this and this. I'll miss a couple weeks at a time, and I'll not feel like showing up one day. And
So you can't get mad that you're in a 2.5 year old, 2.5 year white belt.
I was training a lot more then. To be fair, I was training a lot more then because I went and did that competition. I also had a baby in that time,
That's the
so
real reason why
it.
you were a 2.5 year old white belt.
But it took me off for 3 months. I trained until I was 6 months pregnant. I came back 2 weeks after I gave birth. Um, but still,
Still
that's
salty about
that's
it
that.
though.
Uh, still beside the point. But I've never had it take over my life. Now I will say that I love jujitsu so much. I absolutely love it. I've talked about it before. Like when I've taken a break, I know that within a week or maximum of 2 weeks, I'm going to start aching for it. Like I've got to get back. I miss it. I love it so much. But it's the love of it that drives me and pushes me to it. Like, oh, it's so fun. I just like playing the game and playing around. And I really, really miss that. And because I've always been fairly even keel about it. And so therefore it's never occurred to me that I was falling out of love with it. Like it was always just something that I enjoyed doing, but I'm not going to pressure myself to get there. I have to do this. I have to be the best. I have to do that competition. I have to X, Y, and Z. And so I think that if you've been that person, maybe take a step back and just say it's okay.
Clearly, they are that person, right? If they're
Right,
if they're framing it
yeah.
in, as I've fallen out of love with jujitsu, I've lost my passion for jujitsu. Clearly, they were that person.
Right. So maybe give yourself, we were just talking about give yourself a little grace. Give yourself a little grace that it doesn't have to be that. What is it that's pushing you so hard? And what is it that you're falling out of love with? Is it because you're always injured? Why are you always injured? Are you going in when you're not fully healed? I mean, sometimes we just have to train when we're not fully healed. So we have to be very careful about who we're training with and how we're training. I almost never go hard. And I know that everybody will tell me, oh, you should definitely go hard. You got to go hard at least one day a week, or you got to go hard one roll a night or whatever. I don't want to.
Well, I disagree with that. I think that you need to go hard. You know, as in your own cadence. I'll say I'm not going to put a cadence. It should be once a class, once a week, once a month or whatever. But in your own cadence, you should train very hard with people who are safe. But that's totally besides the point. The the I no longer love jujitsu. Help me. To that I say, yes, take a step back. What is going on here? Did you just get married? Did you just have a kid? Did you just move, change jobs, and now your gym isn't your gym anymore because now you live across the country and they're all new people. They don't know, all the things that you know you as intimately as your old place. They don't train the same way.
Mm.
Maybe you are stacking injuries because if you do jujitsu long enough, you're stacking injuries. We all are, and that's a thing that doesn't get talked about enough. That you do jujitsu, you're gonna get hurt, and it's the resiliency to overcome that isn't just a physical resilience; it's also a mental one. That you don't want to go hard anymore. Well, if I don't want to go hard, then I'm kind of half-assed in class, and now my passion is kind of going away.
That's interesting. I want to come back to that.
Okay,
Finish your thought.
put a flag there. But ultimately, what you're saying to me when you're saying, "Help, I've fallen out of love with jujitsu. I don't have the passion for jujitsu anymore like I used to." Brother, sister, you've made jujitsu your identity, and you cannot do that with anything. I love to fly fish. Fly fishermen make fly fishing their identity. And I'm sure that if you're a birder or if you're a pickleballer or whatever else, you make it your identity. This is a this is a fundamental problem with Western society. I mean, Nietzsche called it the supreme man or the ultimate man, where all we do is focus on ourselves and make the thing that we're either really good at or we're really passionate about. That's who we are. I do jujitsu. It says in my personal Instagram page, guard puller. First thing about me, guard puller. You know, um, so let's not make jujitsu our identity. We can do jujitsu, but let's not make it our identity. That would be the first point.
So I want to frame this, if you haven't figured it out already, I'm somebody who has never lost any kind of passion for jujitsu, and I'm fairly even keel. And Joshua might be a little bit different on that other side. But what I want to get to is you said, okay, maybe you don't go hard anymore, and so you're kind of half-assing it in class and all of that. Couple things there. I never half-ass it at class. Like I'm drilling, I'm concentrating, I'm making sure that I get the moves down, and I want to make sure that when I'm drilling, I'm getting those details. When I roll after class, I mean, I roll to the cadence of my partner.
That's
And
fair.
and
Fair.
most of the time I like to choose people who are very technical and a little bit more playful. But I I won't shy away from somebody who I have to work harder against to make sure that I'm keeping myself safe and all of that. Like, I'm not going to shy away from the harder role as long as I know that that person isn't going to hurt me. And so I will. I don't know if I've ever gone in. I've tried to. I don't think I've ever gone in and like, okay, I'm gonna go today. I'm gonna go. I just don't do it. I mean, I one time I'm so inept at doing that that I for a while was like, okay, I'm gonna come up with an alternate personality, and I'm gonna name my alternate personality. And when I am this person, I'm just going balls out. I'm look out. I'm gonna fuck you up. Excuse my cursing, but it was necessary for that, right? And guess what? I never even came up with a name for that alternate personality. I thought for like months about what that name should be, and I never came up with it.
Well,
Talk about
we have,
therapy.
here at Jiu-Jitsu Couples Therapy a list of potential topics, and cultivating aggression is one of them. And so maybe we'll kind of keep those thoughts there and bring that up on another podcast, because the we're talking about someone that doesn't need to cultivate aggression. They have a passion, they're burning desire, or they used to. They used to come and they'd be psyched, they'd be ready to roll, they'd be ready to mix it up. Now they're not really feeling it anymore. They're like, oh, okay, kind of half-assing it. Maybe they're not even rolling anymore, or rolling a little bit, not really hard with people they know that they can beat. They're just not feeling it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so, to the same extent that I would tell, I just got my blue belt. We just talked about it. Now what? For this person, you're recognizing that you're not in love with it. And uh, I would say, if now you're having this heart versus brain battle. My heart is telling me, man, I'm not here. But your brain is like, no, this is who I am. I do jujitsu,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really passionate about it. I post all my comp pics and comp videos, and I have subscriptions to all these uh, video platforms and all this. And your heart's just like, yeah. And wouldn't it just be fun to just sit on the porch and watch the sunset with a glass of iced tea instead? And and so there's a conflict there. And I appreciate this conflict because guess what? We all have it with all kinds of things that we are passionate about. I've had it many, many, many times with jujitsu. I've been like, man, I am so burned out. You have to recognize that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just keep pounding your head against that wall. You have to recognize I am burned out. I am getting bored. I'm not motivated. Guess what? Take a break. Take a couple week break. And if you're blessed financially enough to go take a mini vacation somewhere, whatever, and maybe there's a jujitsu gym there, maybe just walk in for a class. Take a break, get away. After a week or two, maybe that love is still there, maybe it's not. And guess what? If it's not, the more the time goes on, that's okay too.
That's true.
You don't have to be about jujitsu for the rest of your life. And this, like, life is seasons. It says it in the book of Proverbs, I think. To every season, it's a eagle song.
Uh,
To everything, turn, turn,
it's
turn,
not the
whatever.
Eagles. Yeah. Yard
The
Yardbirds.
Yardbirds. Didn't some of the Yardbirds go on to form the Eagles, or am I thinking about something?
No, you're thinking of something else. They did go on to form something, but it wasn't the Eagles. I don't
Jeff
think.
Beck was in the Yardbirds. What's his name? Uh, from people are screaming at me right now. Led Zeppelin. But anyway,
I'm not going to say anything because, yeah, I'll be wrong.
this isn't a music podcast. And there's a reason why it's not a music podcast, because while I enjoy listening to music and playing music, evidenced by the instruments behind us, I can't remember what happened in the early 1960s.
Yeah.
With
I don't even know the names of songs that are my favorite songs. Anyway,
but everything is a season. Your life turns over. You become a different person, a lot of times without you even noticing it. One day you wake up and you're like, whoa, not feeling jujitsu anymore. How did this happen? Bro, it's been happening for like the last year and a half.
Yeah.
You just haven't paid attention to it.
Yeah.
Because you're in momentum. You're just doing what you do. And, as someone who's had that happen, usually to me, it happens after a competition that I really train for. I feel really burned out. Like, I just don't want to go. I don't want to train hard if I do go. And I don't feel like uh, uh, training. Fine. I'll take a couple weeks off. I know I'll come back. Because I know that you're not quitting. So I have a built-in like thing that's going to bring me back to jiu-jitsu every time, because I am that mercurial type. I have to feel passionate about something. I have to love very deeply something. I can't half-ass it.
I think that there's a difference between quote unquote half-assing it and just being a little bit more balanced and even keel about it. I feel like I'm just a bit more balanced and even keel about it. I know that I love it. I know I enjoy it. I don't push. I don't want to say I don't push myself, because I 100% push myself, but I don't beat myself up if I don't show up for a week. I don't beat myself up if I'm just more. I'm not.
But you
up and down.
understand that that's not the person that we're talking to here.
For sure, I understand it. I guess I'm just saying that there is potentially a different way,
For
which
sure, but
it may or may not be even possible. I guess if you're somebody that's like that.
sure, but I've fallen out of love with jujitsu. Help me person needs tools to, number one, be okay with that. Number two, realize that passion shouldn't be the main driver of your life. I'm super into this. I'm obsessed with this. That shouldn't be the main driver of your
Because
life.
chances are it's going to change. Just like you said with the seasons, everything changes. Things that I'll be super into one week, could even be the following week. I'm like,
Yeah, but maintaining a presence at the gym, once you've taken your break, you kind of reassess things. Maintaining your presence at the gym, I think, is important. Maybe, as I was giving, advice to the new blue belt, maybe take on another type of role if you're able to, and if it's not going to stress you out or make you more anxious about, oh God, I got to be at the gym because I got to help out with kids class, or I promised I would, fold some flyers for them, and whatever. I do their social media. If that's a thing that you like to do anyway, go ahead and do it. Avail yourself to other roles at the gym that aren't being on the mats, absorbing techniques and training, and then sparring.
mhm.
That could also help. You could maybe find a spark there. Maybe, you're great at Excel spreadsheets and they need a little help doing their QuickBooks. okay, I can do that. For, an hour on a Saturday while Saturday class is going on, I'm going to go up to the office, do that. And
It's
then I'm
going to
going to
help
hang
out.
out,
Yeah.
see my buddies still, say hi. Why aren't you training? Oh, I'm helping coach out with, you know, their, their, uh, um, their QuickBooks or whatever, their social media.
And the chances are that if you keep your hand in one way or another with the gym, even if it's not on the mats all the time, is that at some point, maybe your buddy says, "Hey, come down, let's just do a roll," and you're like, we'll do like a mellow roll or whatever. But I think that's a really good suggestion.
Yeah.
Just keep your hand in.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like when I come out of that burnout phase, there is just kind of a weird spark that happens. Maybe it's during a class or an open mat where I roll with someone. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. That's why I love this.
Mhm.
This and this happened, and then I bury him bullet, and then he countered, and yeah, now we're in this weird like, ass entanglement,
Right.
and then we're laughing, and we're like, this is fun. Oh, right, it's fun, and and
Yeah.
but you have to cultivate those moments to come back to that.
Right.
You can't force it. You can't just will it to happen. It happens naturally because you need to allow it to happen. And right now, you're not allowing it to happen.
I also think that you need to, you know, you mentioned that a lot of times you've noticed that you get a little bit of burnout after a competition. You train really hard, you lead up to it, and then whatever happens at that competition.
Usually, I lose, so there's
Well,
that.
that's me too. Uh, and one thing that I have been doing recently when people have asked me, like, "Hey, do you compete?" And I said, I have. I don't really like it. I do it because I don't like it. I do it because it's hard. I do it to push myself. And recently I've been saying, you know what? I don't think I'm going to compete anymore. And while that might seem like defeatist or, oh, you should push yourself and all this stuff, I can push myself in other things that are hard because I'm reflecting back to even the competitions that I've won. I didn't love it. I didn't love training for it. I didn't love afterwards. It's a nice feeling getting your hand raised, no doubt. But I didn't love the process. And more and more I'm thinking about it that, okay, so I do it to push myself because it's hard. That's a good thing inherently. But if I'm spending months not really enjoying what I'm doing, not feeling good about it when I'm done, even though, oh, you did it. That's got to feel great. The meal afterwards feels great, but I don't feel good about it. Maybe I can do other things to get that doing things that are hard
Okay,
thing.
you're doing an amazing job coming up with other podcast.
Sorry, I'm just saying that maybe if there's something that is making you fall out of love, maybe consider not doing it.
But hold on,
Okay.
because you actually brought up a really good point. Is that there is a um, homogeneous way in which the sport is meted out to people. You have to train hard. You have to compete in a lot of gyms, or you should compete, or you're really not legit.
Mhm.
Is the general sense in jujitsu? Oh, you've never compete. Well, you're probably not legit. Your jitsu. How would you know your jujitsu is legit?
Right.
Okay. So you have all these expectations of points that you have to hit. Wow, what's faster to invoke burnout or a falling out of love of jujitsu when you think that the expectation for you is to hit these bullet points set by
Who?
random people who are, let's face it, top competitors, huge gym owners, people who are the top 0.001%. They say you have to do it that way. And so the rest of us who are just normies, I can't do that. I can't compete 4 times a year. I just can't afford it.
Right.
I can't train 5 days a week. I got 4 kids.
We've got
I've got
kids,
to.
we got jobs, we've got, you know,
So
mortgages
you're
to pay.
setting yourself up with these expectations of, well, I have to do it. You have
If
to do the
if
hard
I don't
things,
do this, then
or
I'm
you'll
not
never,
legit.
or you'll never grow. You have
Yeah.
to do the hard things. You never grow. Like questioning those expectations, I think, is really healthy in this situation.
Yeah.
Of maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe competition. Maybe doing, you know, uh, uh, training, uh, training hard, having a hard role every class. Maybe that's not for you. And so you evaluating it and kind of readjusting who are you really?
Hmm.
Then cultivating your passion from there. Like as if you can only have passion for jujitsu based on the way that these top performers, top gym owners say you can have passion for jujitsu. If that doesn't jive with what they're saying, then that means you're doing jujitsu wrong. And I disagree with that. I don't think that there's a wrong way to do jujitsu.
No, I think that the right way to do jujitsu is the way that makes you happy and fulfilled. And we're not talking to these top competitors. We're talking to anybody who's listening is probably a normie person in everyday life. Nobody gives a
And that's a
shit what you
really
do.
important point that I have to remind myself. Like this isn't a podcast for the amazing athletes of jujitsu. This is for the rest of us who, um, you know, struggle cutting weight in a competition that we should easily make. This is for us who, like, have to scold our kids during class because they're talking or climbing up on the grappling dummies during open mat. That's what this podcast is for. And, you know, by way of saying, you know, I want to give everybody, including myself, permission to have a little grace for us. We're doing okay, right? We're doing a thing that's very difficult that most people can't do, whether that's willingly or unwillingly, because they're just, jujitsu is a luxury. It's a luxury with time. It's a luxury with money. It's a luxury with ability. Your physical body works enough to go on the mats. These are luxuries. And we shouldn't get so caught up in in the self identity and the self judgment of this luxury.
Yeah.
We can just enjoy it for what it is. And that's kind of where I've come to in my jujitsu journey, because believe me, everybody, I would beat myself up if I missed Tuesday class, or if, I didn't stay and roll for 5 rounds, or, I maybe, there's this guy, oh man, he always smashes me. I got to go roll with him. That's my personality. This guy kills me. I got to go roll with him. I'm not thinking so much that way anymore. I'm thinking, I want longevity in this. I want to enjoy this. I want to have a healthy relationship with jujitsu. I don't want to have this codependent, a lot of us codependency with jujitsu. It's my identity. The other thing is that it's a narcissistic relationship where my whole self-worth and the focus comes to me because of this thing we call jujitsu. And I want to cultivate a more healthy relationship for myself, for my sanity, for my longevity with jujitsu, and going almost so probably like a year ago, maybe a little bit more. I've been going through a lot of phases of feeling very burned out recently. you know, as I approach 50 and now I'm 51, realizing all the things that my ego, I can't do it anymore. I can't bury a bolo to the back anymore. I just physically, I just can't do it. I can't beat younger people. I'm just not strong enough. I'm not fast enough. And it would just eat at me, eat at me. I'm not legit anymore. I'm not,
Mm.
no, I am who I am in this moment, and that's okay.
Mm.
And I don't have to judge myself against other people. I don't have to even judge myself against myself. You know what I mean? Like, I'm here in this moment, and that's good enough. It's actually where I'm supposed to be. And so, yeah, I mean, that taking that step back and taking understanding in a holistic way of how jujitsu really is a blessing to be able to do. And we're very lucky to be able to do it. And that therefore I should view it with the reverence and the joy that it should have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And the are you legit? Are you doing hard things? Letting that go, number one. But number two, understanding that, you know what, there's probably somebody at your gym, probably several people who love to compete and who are training for competitions. Go be their training partner. Go be their training partner and give them good roles. You want to challenge yourself? I mean, that's at least how I think about it, in thinking I don't like anything about competition. And again, it doesn't give me anything after it's over other than like, man, that kind of sucked. And I just spent a lot of money doing it and all of that. Whereas I would be happy and fulfilled if I could get my team members ready for their competition and have some hard roles with them and try to push them and push myself in that aspect. And that way you're helping your team, you're still honoring yourself. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've got.
All right. Well, that was definitely a
Sorry for
therapy session.
my long speech, but that's what I truly believe, is that we're all very, very lucky, and there's no one way to do jujitsu, and that I don't care what, you know, top competitors say, or, you know, egotistical gym owners say about what is the right way to do jujitsu. Do the jujitsu for you.
And you might find that you fall back in love with it. You might just need to change your relationship with it a little bit.
I agree. All right, everybody, therapy is out of session. God knows that I needed that. All right. Once again, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We really appreciate it. Share this with your friends. Follow us on social media, all that jazz, or don't, if you're so inclined.
Like and subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yep. New shows come out every Monday. So thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. See ya.